Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
This is Science for Humans with Dr. Jeff Galini.
It wouldn't be Wednesday without the good doctor. How you doing, Dr. Jeff?
I'm doing good, Carl. How about you today?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, as we go through you know what? I got to tell you the truth. I never realized how important these topics that we cover on Science for Humans have been to the audience. The outpouring of emails that we get through the Ask the Scientist form there all say the same thing, that, I love the topics you're covering. And the truth of the matter is, the topics we're covering are the rudimentary basic topics about vitamins and minerals. And we just assume people know about them because we're always talking about the really sexy stuff, right?
Absolutely. A couple months ago, I just started thinking about back to basics. And I thought, I know myself, I really kind of forgot what all these vitamins did and why we even needed them. So, we've gotten great response, and this is kind of the basics, the foundation, for supporting great health.
And not only that, great health, but there are people out there who have little symptoms that they just can't peg, and they're looking for something exotic as the answer, when the answer may just be that they are not getting a specific vitamin or enough of a certain vitamin, or not absorbing a certain vitamin enough in their diet.
Well, absolutely. And, that's marketing, because every other day there's some new cure that was found in the African rainforest when,
right.
Essentially vitamins and minerals are probably the most important thing for good health.
And why do you think that is? Science is such a du jour environment. We forget about the science from 50 years ago that has proven to be effective, and we don't build on science. We just kind of throw away the old and look for the new, don't we?
We do, and I think it's really the advertisers. Everyone's trying to sell something different. Marketing has become very, very good. We might have to do a whole Science for Human on marketing. I don't know if there's any science behind it, but
yeah, right.
But that's kind of how they sell things. But again, you look at a vehicle and you got to have the basics. You got to have the oil and the grease and the gas. You can put all kind of fancy stuff on that, but without the basics, it doesn't run right.
No, that's absolutely true. So let's get into it. Let's talk about vitamin E. What is vitamin E?
Vitamin E, we've been talking about, B vitamins, which are water soluble. Now we're going to talk about vitamin E, which is a fat soluble vitamin. It's an antioxidant. It helps to neutralize potentially damaging free radicals. It's quite interesting because it exists in 8 different forms, where D-alpha tocopherol is probably the most active form and the most powerful, biologically active type of antioxidant. Within these forms, the tocopherol and the tocotrienols subfamilies are usually comprised of alpha, beta, gamma, and delta type vitamins, which all have very unique biological effects. So there's kind of the long version of what it is. But essentially it's one of those very important vitamins that, our body needs to function properly. There's so many things that are important that vitamin E does for us.
Now, as you point out, there are 8 isoforms of vitamin E, and I say the tocopherols and tocotrienols, and obviously there's lots of ways of saying it, but they occur in nature side by side. Why do we only look at the alpha tocopherol as being important to us?
I guess that's a good question. I think there's probably more research showing that one. It's probably the most readily available. But again, we don't talk about all the other forms. They're just, from what I saw, isn't a whole lot out there.
Well, and the interesting thing about tocotrienols is that while they occur side by side with tocopherols, but in much smaller amounts, in those smaller amounts, they seem to have a greater ability to scavenge free radicals than the tocopherols, but we ignore them.
We do, and I think, getting them from our food sources, like you said, they're side by side. Very few people are deficient in vitamin E. It's really tough, especially in North America where we have such ample food sources,
I think it's interesting that while tocopherols, as you point out, is a fat-soluble antioxidant, the American diet claims to get the majority of its vitamin E from things like corn oil and soybean oil and margarine, which are three things that no one should be eating. Even this is that one. I actually did a infographic a couple years ago that went right over everybody's head. But when you look at these three things, you shouldn't be eating them in any large quantity. But more importantly, even though they have vitamin E, it doesn't mitigate the damning effects of some of these vegetable oils that have actually been at the root of a lot of disease in this country.
Well, absolutely. And although, they are high in vitamin E, and we're talking about everything from, sunflower to grapeseed to corn oil.
Much better choices, grapeseed and sunflower right there.
Yeah, and olive oil, obviously.
Yes.
But again, I'm not an advocate of, I saw a guy the other day with a bottle of olive oil, and somebody told him he needed to drink 16 ounces every 2 days or something.
Oh, man, he's going to spend all of his time in the restroom if he does that.
I said, I don't know where you got that information from. Yes, it's good, but moderation, not drink it all at one time. But there's plenty of other food sources that we can get this from. So yes, if you use some of these items in cooking, you will get some vitamin E, but don't drink these oils, as this guy might have been doing, to increase his vitamin E. Spinach, broccoli, most of the green vitamins or green vegetables have it. All your fish are high in vitamin E. So if you like fish, you're getting a good dose of vitamin E. And you and I have been talking about nuts. I never used to be a nut person, but the more I research and learn about nuts, I have included that in my daily diet. I'm kind of partial to almonds.
I was going to ask you, what kind of nuts do you like? Yeah, almonds, huh?
Favorite is cashew, I have to admit. Almonds are my next that I like. I know you said you like the pecans and walnuts.
I love pecans. I love walnuts. Yeah, but I love cashews. Cashews are just buttery when you chew them up. They're so good.
They are. They're just great. And there's so many health benefits. Sunflower seeds for all those baseball players out there, and avocado, which that seems to come up in a lot of our discussions of containing so many different vitamins, but it also contains a pretty good amount of vitamin E. All your shellfish, and then if you're a pumpkin person and squash, hey, Thanksgiving, you get lots of vitamin E in your system, huh?
I didn't realize that pumpkin was high in vitamin E. That's amazing.
Yeah, there's about 13% of the RDA and 140 grams of cooked. So I don't know. That's probably a piece of pie, maybe.
Now, vitamin E being an oil-soluble, actually not only oil-soluble, but it's found in oils in general. I guess the question that always comes to my mind when I learn that some nutrient or vitamin that I'm trying to acquire comes in the form of oil is, what does rancidity or heating do to the vitamin E? So some people like to cook with olive oil. I don't like to cook with olive oil. I like to cook with coconut oil. I like to keep my olive oil raw. Do you think when you cook some of these oils that have high levels of vitamin E, does the vitamin E become denatured, break down, or somehow get lost in the shuffle?
Absolutely. Anytime, we take something from its raw form and we cook it, the higher the heat, things like frying, we're degrading most of our vitamins that are in there, and vitamin E is one of those things. You may still get some, but you're losing a pretty good amount of it.
Well, think about it. Vitamin E's value in the human body is seen as an antioxidant, right?
Correct.
And when you heat something, aren't you oxidizing it?
Absolutely. that's just part of that process, So I like you. There is a time to eat things raw. And again, raw is always the best. But if you do cook things all the time, just realize, that you won't get as much from these sources as you do eating them raw. Although, even like some statistics on cooked broccoli, even after you cook 100 grams, which is probably, a couple good buds, you're still picking up over 7%. That's after it's cooked.
Right.
Uncooked, it might be more like 15 or 20%,
Yeah, but not everybody can tolerate uncooked broccoli. That's one that sometimes is tough to digest for some people. So obviously you have to kind of weigh out the benefits and whether or not you can do it. But getting back to vitamin E for a second, I remember back in the days, you being an ex-bodybuilder, that it was touted that vitamin E could mitigate delayed onset muscle soreness. Do you remember that? Was that actually proven in science, or was that just an old, bodybuilding wives' tale?
No, I think that was just kind of a wise tale, similar to, if you put vitamin E on your skin, you would never get stretch marks. We all did it because, somebody at the gym said it was good for us. But I don't know. I mean, obviously it is important. And when you talk about the functions, you can kind of see where that hypothesis came from,
Yeah, because vitamin C is starting to show some real value in the whole stretch mark discussion, but that's because vitamin C seems to build collagen. I don't know that vitamin E does the same thing. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to take a break. When we come back, I'd like to talk about deficiencies. What does a vitamin E deficiency look like? And also some interesting facts about how they came up with the RDA of vitamin E that I think most people will be shocked when they hear it. We're talking with Dr. Jeff Galini. This is Science for Humans. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more when we return. Do you know how to properly use carbohydrates to ignite your performance in the field and in the gym? You will now, thanks to this free book by EFX Sports. The Carb User's Guide for Maximum Performance reveals why omitting carbohydrates from your diet can totally crush your gains. Ever wonder how many grams you need for your specific sport? Not anymore. We give you the critical number you need to dominate your competition. You'll even discover the super carb that's taking the athletic world by storm. You must try it to believe it. Go to getcarbolin.com/carb guide today and get your copy absolutely free. Once again, it's GETKARBOLIN.com/CARBGUIDE. Prime Nutrition is proud to present Max HP, their most scientifically formulated pre-workout supplement to date. Now available in 2 great tasting flavors, tropic fruit and raspberry. Max HP is the most ultra premium pre-workout available and is made without any artificial colors, flavors, or dye. Increasing blood flow to heighten anabolic activity, Max HP is designed to meet the heightened metabolic needs of high-performance athletes. Visit PrimeNutrition.com and use coupon code SuperhumanRadio to receive 20% off of your entire order. Go to PrimeNutrition.com today.
You drink coffee, but do you know what's in your coffee? Pesticides, herbicides, unhealthy molds and bacteria. That's unless you drink NutriCafe. NutriCafe is small batch, certified organic Arabica whole bean gourmet coffee that's infused with an immune-supporting medicinal mushroom blend. NutriCafe tastes amazing because it's low acid, and it doesn't cost anymore to drink the world's best coffee. Roasted fresh every week in small batches. Go to superhumanradio.com today and click the NutriCafe banner ad to learn more. There's only one NutriCafe organic medicinal coffee in the world. Why would you drink anything else?
Never before has an anti-estrogen been so powerful. The triazole formula is built on a potent, all-natural aromatase inhibitor called Pizole, which has been shown in clinical trial to be as effective as a leading prescription aromatase inhibitor. Pizole works in concert with the rest of the triazole formula to control estrogen while simultaneously boosting testosterone significantly. In fact, one of triazole's testers had a 120% increase in total testosterone and a 257% increase in free testosterone. Triazole is available at bodybuilding.com, nutriplanet.com, or where finer supplements are sold. For more information, check out getds.com. Hey, this is Carl. Start your day just like I do with a high-dose lipospheric vitamin C from Live On Labs. You too can benefit from Live On Labs' lipospheric delivery system. No more pills or powders. That's outdated technology. Live On Labs has the world's most efficient vitamin delivery system, period. Learn a lot more today at liveonlabs.com and benefit from their new reduced pricing.
That's livonlabs.com, Livon labs.com.
For the best in real world, no nonsense, result producing and effective strength training, muscle building, and physical culture information, read Brooks Kubik's books and courses. Don't delay. Sprint on over to brookskubik.com and choose from more than a dozen of the best books and courses on the market. Brooks Kubik's training advice has been building strength, transforming physiques, and changing lives for more than 25 years. If you prefer ebooks, look for Brooks Kubik's best-selling courses at Amazon's Kindle bookstore. Show your support for Physical Culture Radio by going to brookskubik.com right now.
Everyone knows the importance of optimal vitamin D levels for health. Every week, a new study is released showing the linkage to disease from low levels of vitamin D. But throughout evolution, we have never gotten the massive amounts of vitamin D in our diet that we get today. This is why oral vitamin D is associated with toxicity and the risk of calcification of organs. Vitamin D is naturally synthesized in the skin, but dermatologists tell us to stay out of the sun for fear of skin damage. Now you can take your vitamin D the way nature intended it with Primal D. Primal D delivers a topical dose of vitamin D into the skin where it belongs. Topically applied vitamin D does not carry the risks associated with oral vitamin D. And a single bottle of Primal D should last you a year. For less than 19 cents a day, you could be taking the world's best vitamin D supplement. Go to primal-d.com to learn more. Oh, and you don't have to wait to run out of your current vitamin D to order Primal D. You can just throw it away because it just became obsolete. Primal-d.com. Vitamin D delivery the way nature intended it.
This is the Superhuman Channel. Evolution just got kicked up a notch.
Welcome back to Science for Humans. Hey, Dr. Jeff, do we have any bottles of VitaDrive left, or did they all go?
You know what? I think everyone thought that because the first time they went so fast, I actually still have some left. I got 2 emails today from a couple people that said, oh, I just got around to listening to the podcast. You probably don't have any. Guess what? I still do.
So if people want to try the single best multivitamin made specifically for hard training individuals, like this audience is made up of, you can get a free bottle, not a sample, but an entire bottle of VitaDrive. Go to superhumanradio.com. Bottom right-hand side of the website is a banner ad with Dr. Jeff's picture on it. It says, Ask the Scientist. And while that form is designed for you to ask him a question, ask him for a free bottle of VitaDrive. And please include your mailing address so you can get it.
And, as we've been talking about, the thing that I am so passionate about this particular product is it has all of these vitamins that we've been talking about. So you don't have to go out there and try to figure out, oh, boy, okay, I think I might be deficient in vitamin E. Which one do I use? Where do I get it? Again, you're probably deficient in more than one thing on any one given day. So this is a way to, I kind of call it the shotgun theory, where you're taking everything that's essential and whatever your body needs that day, it's there for you.
So what do deficiencies in vitamin E look like? What kind of symptoms would somebody notice if they were deficient in vitamin E?
Well, first of all, there's a couple deficiencies that happen in children, and I want to first touch on that. If you have a kid that's just got muscle weakness, vitamin E could be the deficiency.
Wow.
Some of the kids who have some motor speech disorders, that's a vitamin E deficiency. The same thing with some of the kids that have a slow growth rate. That could be from vitamin E. But some of the more general signs, gastrointestinal diseases.
Really?
I not quite sure the whole science behind that, but I thought that was kind of interesting. There's so much that affects, what happens in our digestive tracts. Most people know about dry hair or loss of hair because the shampoo cosmetic industry has really incorporated, vitamin E into all those type of things. Again, muscle weakness, and that's not, that doesn't mean going into the gym and today I can't do my PR on the bench. That just means, I hear so many people, they wake up and go, wow, I feel so weak today. You just don't feel right. Muscle, vitamin E. If you've got cuts and things that are slow to heal, that could also be a vitamin E. And then another big one, leg cramps.
Really? I didn't know about the leg cramp.
Yeah.
Wow.
Leg cramps.
Because I know a lot of people go right to potassium, magnesium, things like that when they have leg cramps, but I don't think that people think about vitamin E at all.
You don't, and obviously, you got to figure out which one, but again, a leg cramp could be a deficiency. Some other things that happen in adults, we could have some mild anemia, fragile red blood cells, which, you don't want to have that happen. Age spots. As we get older, we start to get some of these darkening spots.
Well, I want to talk about that one. So they sell vitamin E oil to women, specifically, supposedly to help fade age spots. But the question I always have about that is when you read the bottle, it says vitamin E as just one form of vitamin E, generally alpha tocopherol. And then it's in like soybean oil, or the better ones are in like almond oil and stuff like that. But I have to believe that vitamin E works when all 8 forms of vitamin E are present, number one, not just one of them, number one. And number two, I also have to believe the oil, the vehicle that it is being immersed into, that you're rubbing on your skin, may or may not be the best thing to be rubbing on your skin, and it may actually negate any benefits from the vitamin E. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. My recommendation is always to just find pure vitamin E. So get a soft gel, cut it, and open it up. Even though there are some other fillers and things in there, they aren't as bad as some of the cosmetic products, like you said, that put it into some inferior oil that could slow up or even hinder anything from even happening, But I would also use it, again, internally besides external.
And that's the other thing. This good skin starts on the inside. So many women spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month rubbing stuff on the outside of their body, but they completely negate paying attention to what they put in their body and its effect on the skin. You will not get age spots to just go away from creams that you put on. Age spots are actually advanced glycation end products that end up on the skin. And that starts from the inside. It's not starting from the outside.
And, I think the older we get, we kind of, you hear so many elderly people go, well, I'm this age, I don't care anymore. That's really the time that you want to start even paying more attention to what you're ingesting, because all these outward signs are some deficiency. Obviously, things like wrinkles, age spots, are considered just part of growing old. But again, those are deficiencies. So that's a sign that says, hey, like when you're hungry, it means I need to eat. Those are signs that you need to up your vitamin E a little bit.
Dr. Jeff, is there any known side effect from taking too much vitamin E?
You know what? Vitamin E, even though it's fat-soluble and fat-soluble vitamins will build up to toxic levels, not so much with vitamin E. And the main reason is most of it is not absorbed very well. But one of the big problems that if you do take too much, it does cause another instance where you could impair blood clotting. Which means,
because it has a blood thinning effect. That's right.
Yeah, you're going to overwhelm the vitamin K in your body, which will prevent the platelet aggregations. So that's the only real issue. It's pretty tough to build up a toxic amount of that vitamin E because not all of it is absorbed.
I take a vitamin E product that I buy from VitaCost that has all 4 tocotrienols and all 4 tocopherols. Do you think that do you have any recommendations on dosing for vitamin E? I know the most vitamin E, when they're just a single isoform like alpha tocopherol, come in a 400 IU caplet. You think that's adequate, 400 IUs a day?
I would say that's probably the minimum. As we know, percent daily value is based on a 2,000 calorie diet, and who is that? Man, women, child.
Right.
It really doesn't mean a whole lot. I like to be around that 1,000 IU. Again, you take it every day and you will get some overlap because it's not a water soluble where it's in and out of your body, within, hours. Some people, it could take up to a day or two to get through your system. So you will have some overlap the next day. But 400 is a good starting point if you haven't done any type of vitamin E and you think you might be deficient. It's always better to start with a smaller amount and then kind of work your way up and see how you feel.
2 real quick points. If it has the letter L in it, like DL alpha tocopherol, don't take it. It's synthetic vitamin E. It's been shown to actually impair the body's ability to use real vitamin E.
Absolutely. And, as you're talking about these multiple vitamins, E, what they call those is mixed tocopherols.
Right.
So when you look on the label, sometimes you'll see that word mixed. That means there's more than one.
The other thing is you'll be astonished to find out how the government came up with the recommended daily allowance for vitamin E. They used just one form, the alpha tocopherol, and they starved mice, pregnant mice, with a vitamin E deficient diet, and they kept adding vitamin E to their diet until they stopped reabsorbing the fetus. So in other words, when a baby mouse doesn't get enough vitamin E, the baby dies in the womb and gets reabsorbed. The mom just doesn't have the baby. When they finally found the right amount where the mom actually gave birth to the baby, they said, oh, that's what the RDA is. We'll just convert that to human. That's the silliest way to come up with what you should be taking in a vitamin. That's like, how do you know that that's enough to thrive on? And maybe enough for little baby mice to be born, but what about humans? You know what I mean?
But mice, they're nothing like humans.
I know.
As far as their digestive. I mean, yeah, that's just that's our government, huh? That's a whole nother story for another day. That's a casual Friday topic.
Yeah, you're right. That is. Yeah, so 1,000 IUs of vitamin E a day actually is what I like myself, but I didn't want to say that because I thought that was a reckless, very, very high amount. I tend to be a little bit more of a zealot.
It's a good amount. And remember, always buy reputable sources. Go to the health food stores where, your store owners have done research on which brands they carry. They're going to cost you a little bit more than, your Walmarts and Costco's and your dollar stores. But guess what? When you buy a cheap supplement, you might as well not even take it. It's completely worthless.
And strive for a complete vitamin E that has all of the tocopherols and all of the tocotrienols. It's called a full spectrum vitamin E supplement. You want that so you get all the benefits. Dr. Jeff, as always, bringing us the great knowledge. Thanks for being on the air today.
Thank you very much. Take care.